Good morning, everybody. 9 a.m. on this Wednesday, January 7th, 34 degrees outside and very foggy outside, Patrick. Murky, I think, is a good word to describe it. It reminds me of London.
Yeah, we got to check in. Pearl Street, by the way, behind me is totally closed. There's lots of fire trucks and vehicles. It's kind of hard to see, but they're redirecting traffic up here.
We're going to have this story coming up in just a minute. The breaking news of a power outage with National Grid affecting downtown Buffalo, many parts of the city. So we do know that a lot of street lights are out. I don't know if perhaps there was something wrong with the transformer in that area where you're seeing. But we're trying to track it down, figure out what is the root of this power outage that's affecting about 3,700 National Grid customers right now. And it's still going to be several hours before the power is restored, according to National Grid's power outage site. So we'll talk more about that coming up, but that could possibly be what's going on at Pearl Street.
It looks like there's some kind of power company trucks back there. It's hard to see, but I can see where the streets are blocked off. And yeah, I don't know about you, but I lost internet many times this morning. Maybe it was a power surge or something affecting our building. But anyway, all right, cloudy skies currently with fog now kind of descending upon downtown Buffalo, but it is dry now after getting some snow showers this morning. We're still seeing some of those down towards Fredonia and Dunkirk. We'll take you down there and you'll see that we've got some of those snow showers inland, especially away from the lake. But again, these will be it, and the rest of the day should be dry. This is a 4 o'clock snapshot of the clouds and the quiet conditions we'll have this afternoon. Same with tomorrow morning, temperatures in the low 30s, but check out the afternoon. We should see some clearing and temperatures getting into around 50 degrees or so. That is for tomorrow. As for your weekend, rain showers on Saturday, 40s, and then getting windy, we believe, on Sunday with some snow showers and temperatures falling actually throughout the day. So long range forecast there again. You've got wet weather, and look at how warm it's going to be, or mild, I should say, for early January. 52 tomorrow, 54 on Friday, showers on Sunday.
I'm okay with your word choice of warm. That will feel warm compared to what we've experienced.
Relatively, yes, for January, because that's 20 degrees above average, so that's pretty good.
Elliot was asking to wear shorts to school on Friday. He wants to wear Zuba's shorts to be all dressed up for the Bills game. And I said, you know what? Go for it.
Why not?
There won't be many more 50s.
By the way, do you think, I don't want to talk about this because I jinx it. I was just going to talk about what if the Bills get to would they close schools that next Monday for a parade or Tuesday, or
I would imagine if we don't have a lot of snow days between now and the beginning of February, schools might consider closing no matter what on Monday, because they know the kids will be up really late watching it, whether they win or lose. The parade won't be the next day. The parade will be a week later or something.
Right. Okay.
But I would imagine schools would consider closing. I mean, Orchard Park closes early sometime because of Bills games.
That's true.
You might as well take off a whole day so that the kids can stay up, and the teachers and the parents.
We are getting ahead of ourselves.
We really are. It's something that we've never really had to talk about before, but it's wishful thinking.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick, thank you. Speaking of schools, breaking news that we're following, a major change in the plans for the Buffalo Public School District. As we've been reporting, PS3 and PS90 were recommended for closure by the end of this academic year because of financial issues. However, multiple sources have told Two on Your Side that the plan has changed and Buffalo won't be closing any schools this school year. Daybreak's Natalie Foss joins us live right now from PS3 to give us the latest. Natalie, what are you seeing out there or hearing from any parents?
Well, Melissa, we haven't heard anything from anybody, but students are just beginning to show up for their school day today as they would normally. And we did get that information late last night from those sources that have that direct knowledge that the school will not be closing like it was previously said to have been, which is good news for these students, of course, as they're arriving to school today. Superintendent Dr. Pascal Mubanga, we also got news that he will present an alternative plan to the board for the districts to deal with how he's going to deal with the district's financial challenges. And this all began back in December at the school board meeting when the board actually chose to hold off on the closures. There was those 2 closures that we talked about that they had been recommended. They chose to hold off on those until the new board members were sworn in. Now that happened earlier this week. At that meeting, over a dozen people showed up to speak out in support of keeping both the Deauville-Porter campus PS3 and Early Childhood Center PS90 open instead of closing them at the end of the school year. Of course, the superintendent said, "I hear you," to those comments that were made that night. The district was going to close the schools in order to address a deficit. Now they are facing that deficit. They said it's somewhere between $50 and $73 million. Again, multiple close sources tell us that the schools will no longer be closing. We did reach out to the Buffalo Public School District to get a comment. They said that they don't have a comment right now, but there will be some sort of announcement later today. There's also going to be a work session for the school board today at 4 p.m. at City Hall. So expecting to hear some more information throughout the day, and if not any sooner, then probably after that work session that's happening again at 4 o'clock at City Hall. But we'll continue to update throughout the day once we get more information on this, and as we hear from hopefully the superintendent's office, but also get word from the school board about what's going to be happening moving forward. Melissa?
Yeah, a lot of decisions to make. If they're not going to close schools, where's that money going to come from? Lots of questions to be answered. Natalie, thank you. And we'll be following the story closely throughout the day today. And you can find more updates on WGRZ.com and our WGRZ News app. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, thousands of people are waking up without power this morning in Buffalo. Around 3,500 National Grid customers are being impacted by this outage, happening all throughout the city of Buffalo, including downtown, the medical campus, and residential areas as well. We are not sure what's causing the outage. National Grid, according to their website right now, is estimating that the power could be restored by around 11 o'clock this morning. We do know that street lights throughout the city are out, so if you do come to a street light that's out, you should treat it as a 4-way stop. The Jewish Community Center also sent us an email saying that it closed its Holland building for now because of the outage. We haven't gotten any more closings sent into the newsroom. And of course, it's likely that most of the hospitals and the medical campus are running on backup generators. But we'll be reaching out and finding out what's happening with National Grid and when that power might be restored. Again, around 3,500 National Grid customers in the dark this morning. It is 9:07 now, and we're trying to get more details about this fire in Buffalo. This was the scene on 15th Street just before 11 o'clock last night. Didn't see any flames, but we did see some smoke coming out of the building. We reached out to city officials for more information, waiting to hear back. Once we do, we'll pass that along to you. And take a look at this crash that closed off part of William Street in Cheektowaga for about 4 hours yesterday. This was between Richard Street and Rossler Avenue. We did see a lot of damage to a sedan, its bumper and its hood damaged, an SUV with similar damage as well. We don't know if anyone was hurt, if so, how seriously, but we have reached out to Cheektowaga officials and we're waiting for more information. So most of New York churches are now breathing a sigh of relief. They're learning that they're able to stay open a little bit longer than originally thought. The Buffalo Diocese confirms to Two on Your Side that the Vatican has granted extensions on parish appeals from multiple churches that were ordered to close or merge. Take a look at your screen right now. You can see those churches. They are St. Rose of Lima in Forestville, St. Rose of Lima in Buffalo, St. Josephat, St. John the 23rd, and Queen of Martyrs. Officials say the extensions are part of the Vatican's review process, allowing time to consider both the bishop's decisions and the appeals from parishioners seeking to reverse them. New year, same old problems. Some city officials are still butting heads over the budget deficit. It appears no one is on the same page when it comes to how big the deficit is for the city of Buffalo. Comptroller Barbara Miller-Williams says the current deficit is around $40 to $80 million. First quarter gap report for the fiscal year projected the deficit at just over $2 million. Meanwhile, the Ryan administration has done its own analysis of city finances, and it believes that the deficit is somewhere around $17 million. We did speak with some Common Council members about all of the numbers being thrown around, and some of them are describing the comptroller's projections as, quote, irresponsible.
It just seems like a wild range that we have to, if we're going to make decisions, have to nail down a certain number. How do you govern the city of Buffalo and pass a budget and provide services if you're looking at a discrepancy of what could be $40 million?
Councilmember Nowakowski mentioned that the numbers are wildly different. I'd take it a little further and say that the report's wildly irresponsible. You know, the days of the controller and her staff just throwing out random numbers has to come to an end. And I'm really glad that this item is going to go to committee so that they can come in and answer for this and we can get to the bottom of where they're coming up with these random numbers, because to state publicly that if this doesn't happen, if that doesn't happen, that we're going to have an $80 million budget deficit, well, if no one paid taxes, we'd have a $200 million deficit.
Now, the difference in projections is based on a variety of scenarios, including revenue shortfalls and expenditure trends. The mayor's office does believe that the budget deficit is more of a revenue issue and not a spending issue. Well, attention Wegmans shoppers, there's a lot of reaction pouring in after a New York City Wegmans posted signs outside its stores alerting customers about the use of biometric data collection. So what is that and how are they using it? Well, according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, biometric data is information about your physical features that can be used to identify you. Right now, there's no state or local laws requiring stores in Western New York to notify customers when facial recognition technology is being used. Erie County legislator Lindsay Larigo says that's something she'd like to see change.
So I'm currently working on a local law that would require, if a business or an entity is using, biometric scanning and collecting that data, that they would at least need to post signage to make customers aware, just like they're doing in New York City. I think it's a good measure, and just in terms of transparency.
Now, Wegmans isn't being very specific with us about whether it's being used in local stores, but they did send us a statement saying we understand concerns about fairness and bias in facial recognition systems. We employed a multitude of training and safety measures to help keep people safe. 9:12 now on Daybreak, and today Erie County Democratic Party officials will nominate their endorsed candidate to run in the February 3rd special election for the 61st State Senate District. That's the Senate seat that opened up after Buffalo Mayor Sean Ryan left Albany for Buffalo City Hall at the start of the new year. Democratic Assembly member Jonathan Rivera and Erie County Democratic Chair Jeremy Zellner are both running for this seat, and they'll be eyeing that nomination, likely to go to Zellner, we're hearing. We do expect the announcement at 5:30 tonight. Now, on the other side of the aisle, yesterday, the Erie County Republican Committee nominated Dan Gagliardo to be its candidate to run in the special election. He lost the race for Amherst Town Supervisor back in November. Also happening today, Explore and More and Bank on Buffalo will be partnering together again for their 5th annual Coats and Cans Winter Collection Drive. This year, they're expanding the event to help even more families in need across our area. The program has always given donations to Girard Place, but now they're also including the Little Portion Friary and Family Promise of Western New York. So starting today, you can donate things like winter jackets and non-perishable food items at Explore and More or any Bank on Buffalo branch during regular business hours through February 1st. Stay with us. We're going to take a quick break and we'll talk sports and weather coming up after the break. Welcome back. 9:15 now on Daybreak, 34 degrees, and the victory yesterday that all Sabres fans were feeling. You know, it was kind of a bummer when the Sabres had their 10-game win streak. That came to an end. They wanted the 11-game win streak because that would have been the longest in franchise history. Instead, the 10-game win streak tied the franchise record for win streaks. So they didn't get it with 11. They lost that game, but now they're back to winning again. They had a good win over Vancouver yesterday. At one point, they were up 4-0.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, it was 2-0 before you blinked.
Right. And so that fourth goal, by the way, came from Zach Metza, little guy. Never seen him before. It was his first goal in the NHL. He's actually 27 years old, but he played with the Sabres yesterday, and the team was so awesome when he scored. They hugged him, cheered. It was really, really kind of fun to see. But then the Canucks got back into it. They scored 2 goals in 40 seconds.
Right.
And it was at 4-3 at one point in the final minutes of the game. Lindy Ruff called a timeout, kind of like settled everyone down.
Okay, yeah.
The fans stayed positive. They weren't booing. They were really trying to get the team riled up, and it all worked. Josh Doan sealed the win with an empty netter from all the way down the ice. Like, he shot it from one net, and it went into the other one.
That must have, the crowd.
That was really cool.
Okay, even if they had lost that wouldn't have brought on the Boo Birds, do you think? Given that the Sabres are in a really good place.
Well, when you're up
right
4-0.
Right, but maybe they would. I don't know. Maybe so.
So final score was 5-3. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen was great. He
was.
played a really, really good game. And so that was great to see. Sabres play tomorrow at MSG against the Rangers tomorrow night. And then a lot of games at home after that. And right now, they're only a couple points out of a playoff spot. And we are exactly halfway through the season, 41 games left.
Good.
All right.
Many years that it's over by now. So lately. So it's good to have.
Yes, Lindy Ruff in his press conference after the game was kind of doing some math about how many points it usually takes to get to the playoffs. And he's like, if you do the math and we're doing what we're doing right now, we should be able to make the playoffs. Anything can change. We can go on another 10-game win streak, or the Sabres can lose 10, 13 games in a row.
I don't think they're that team, though. I don't think they're that team that could
lose that many in a row?
Yeah, they're. I mean,
you also didn't think they were that team that could win 10 in a row, and look what happened.
Maybe they really were all along.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
The new GM lit a fire under them.
Well, the win streak started before that, but still, I mean, you got to wonder. I mean, Kevin Adams is the one who assembled this team.
Yes.
That's winning. So.
Right.
Just a thought.
Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. Let's find out our thoughts on the Bills as we look ahead to Sunday's game. We're hearing from defensive coordinator Bobby Babich as he looks to take on the big challenge of slowing down a red-hot Jaguars offense. Trevor Lawrence has been playing great over the past few months, finishing out with lots of passing yards, 29 touchdowns. He's even been better, specifically during the Jags' 8-game win streak. So here's what Babich had to say on the Jaguars quarterback.
You just see Trevor's comfortable. You know, he's comfortable in the offense. He's comfortable in their operation with what they're doing. They do some good things on offense, and, you know, they've got some talent around them, which certainly helps.
And the Bills are technically 1.5-point favorites in the game, but most sports books have the matchup as really a toss-up on who's going to win.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I am too. I'm, you know, they got to win this game. They can't lose in the first round with Josh Allen. You can't lose to a first-time head coach. Sorry,
right.
You can't lose that game. Again, it's hard. They're playing great. It's at their place, but you can't lose to a first-time head coach.
What's our kicker situation right now?
Apparently, what's his name? Prater?
Prater. It's day-to-day.
Day-to-day. So that means they brought in another kicker. They signed him to the practice squad. I forget his name. Oh, it's a really interesting name.
Joe Smith.
That's it. It was. I forget what it. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I got to believe that they're hopeful that he'll.
Matthew Ray.
Was that it? No.
Wright? Matthew Wright. Yes, because Elliot said to me that, Mom, they signed a kicker with the last name Wright.
Wow. Did your son came up with that?
Yes.
Interesting. Boy, he's smart.
Milton, what did you just say? I'm sorry. He kicked in 14 games with the Jaguars. Oh. So he knows the field.
He knows the field, right.
That'll be helpful.
That's okay.
I don't know if he'll be playing, but
most people get the idea that his last name Wright. That was, I mean, is that a good thing or is that an omen?
We shall see. I don't know. Maybe Prater will be playing, but no offense, but I'm also not very confident in Prater's abilities either.
Why not? Prater? Yeah. He's been doing great. No. Prater has been doing great. You're thinking of Bagley, the guy that they just released. Badgley. Prater's the one who came and won the game in the first game, against the Ravens.
Didn't he have a couple misses, though, that he should?
Of course.
Extra points?
There might have been one. I know that when he got injured, it was a big loss because we knew Bass wasn't coming back.
Right.
And I thought he's been playing pretty well at the age of 41. Anyway, we'll go look it up, but I thought he was having a good season. Am I wrong?
I don't know. This is where I need our sports department. But we will have Sports Talk Live Plus tomorrow night at 7 p.m. right here on WGRZ Plus. So you can actually tune into the experts like John Scott and Vic Carucci to find out what they have to say about Prater.
They'll correct all of our mistakes.
Exactly. Pay no attention to us. Listen to the real experts tomorrow night. All right, we'll be right back after this. (9:24) now, and we are hearing from some Bills fans who are pretty frustrated because when they left the final game at Highmark Stadium, they only left with, good feelings and a win. They didn't leave with the coin that the Bills were handing out. It was a special celebratory coin for the end of the era at the old Highmark Stadium. A lot of fans actually had the original coin from the opening day, and they wanted both. But what happened was, some fans took too many and other fans didn't get anything. One person that we spoke with said that when they went to customer service, the customer service rep said, well, we made 80,000 coins, so there should have been enough for everybody, but that just wasn't the case. And to make matters worse, some people are now selling them for hundreds of dollars on eBay.
My daughter actually let me know when we were leaving the customer service desk about how many she had saw on eBay, and they were selling, I believe, for $200 to $300. And this is prior to the game even starting. So I thought that was, it was interesting.
So, and the towels here that you see too, a lot of people didn't get those. But we did reach out to Bills for comment, and a spokesperson says, this is not very specific, but they're currently discussing the issue. But here's the thing, they can't go back and give out coins again or give out the towels. However, you do know that they're going to give stuff away for the first game at the new Bills Stadium. So how can they do it right? I think it's very simple. You scan your ticket, you get the coin.
Right.
You scan your ticket, you get the towel. You don't walk 20, 50 feet ahead and then ask someone for a coin, because I could say, oh, my son's in the bathroom, I need to grab one for him, and grab an extra one. So it just is very simple. There's a point in the process of getting into the stadium that you are alone and talking to someone. There should be someone right there handing them out. It's not going to slow things down, but it'll make it more efficient. Hopefully the Bills will figure that out before they do something nice again for the fans, but make sure everyone gets what they came for. I mean, and especially with the new Bill Stadium, with how much these people are paying for PSLs, they better get their coin.
They better get a coin. Yeah, no doubt.
All right. It is 35 degrees outside right now, but the ice boom is being installed at the headwaters of the Niagara River. Is this live?
No, I don't think so. Is it?
No?
No.
No. Oh, it's video. Okay. But we will be able to see this soon, as the crews will be out there installing the ice boom so that the ice doesn't go from the lake and go down the river and cause damage to homes and docks and all that sort of stuff. They had to delay it because of high wind and waves. So with relatively calm weather this week, we are told that the Power Authority will be installing the ice boom this week. Not a ton of ice on the lake right now, Patrick, right?
No, in fact, we did a little, I've got something I want to show you. Looking at historically, when has Lake Erie frozen over? We all know of all the Great Lakes, Lake Erie is the most prone to freezing. Why?
Right. Because it's shallow?
Shallow, exactly.
And when it does freeze over, it means we don't get any more lake effect snowstorms.
It shuts it down. And it doesn't completely shut it down, because you still can get a little moisture from the melted ice on top, let's say.
Yeah.
But no, it totally shuts down the lake effect process. So let's take a look. I'll walk over there. Okay, so this is this is not a map, this is a graphic.
A graphic.
That shows annual maximum ice cover on Lake Erie. You can see the dates, if you can see it, 1970 to 2025, the last year. Okay, so up here is 100%, 0%. So you can see the dots that are, basically close to this 100% line are the dates that the lake iced over. Last year, remember I said it was it was brief, but it almost completely iced over. Then 2 years.
And was that like in February when it almost iced over?
Yeah, it was early, and then it got warm. Yes, because February is pretty cold. Then the 2 years before that, only about very little ice, 30 to 40%. And then, of course, in 2019, I mean, no ice. And then you had 2 years, let's say 2017, 18, it iced over. 2016, it did not. But here's the thing that I find interesting is notice in the 70s, in the 80s, and 90s, 70s and 80s to 2000, the frequency of ice over, or total ice cover, was a little bit more frequent than the last 10 years, okay? You can see, I mean, here you had 5 years in a row, 3 years in a row, 6 years in a row, 7 years. I mean, so it just seems like the frequency of complete ice cover has reduced a little bit in the last 10 years. But this year, I think we're at 26% ice cover now. And I think it is we're not gonna gain much ice over the next week because it's gonna be mild. But the second half of January is starting to trend colder and colder. So a chance of an ice over here. Did you find that interesting?
I find it very interesting. I also feel like lots of elementary schools and middle schools should be looking at that as a way to like teach kids about how to read graphics and
right,
things like
and frequency and mean, mode, those kinds of things.
And to also possibly talk about global warming and climate change, which we don't have enough time in the show to get into that right now, but very, very interesting to study that. And so we shall see what's going to happen with the ice on the lake, but we know again that the boom will be going in, and we'll show you that video when it happens. Thanks for joining us on Daybreak, everybody. Have a great day.